Okay, happy Wednesday, fifth graders. Today's class is going to be on an Explore It experiment, which covers how does sunlight strike Earth's surface. Cohort A and B were given hard copies of this paper. I will attach an additional paper to the post. Also, if you don't have a printer or you're out of ink or your copier's not working or whatever obstacle might be ahead of you, there's options here. You can write this on paper. It exists in your book on page 172. The only thing is there's one question missing. So if you want to write it somewhere else on the book, the last page, which I'm going to have to kind of show you this here. Let's see if I can make it go back a little. I cannot. But this page, this question right here about can you make a connection between this, what you learned in this activity. It's rather short, so it shouldn't take too long. And the first thing I always start with to sort of take ownership is I write my name on here. So some of the kids said that it's hard to see when I write in pencil, but I'm going to set that aside and I'll write in a marker so it's nice and dark. So I'm just going to make up a name here, and let's just kind of do this. And of course, today's date is, I wonder if it's two N's. I don't know. I am going to write today's date. It is the presidential inauguration day. So let's see. It says, we want to know, how does sunlight strike the Earth's surface? And this is going to be something that, this is really bothering me. I think it's two N's. This is something that we're going to be doing again and again and again in different ways. I showed you a video, we read about it, now we're going to sort of act it out. Later on in the week, we're going to be doing a Gizmo computer lab that expresses this. So it says hold a flashlight about 15 centimeters directly above a piece of paper, and instead of getting a whole nother sheet of paper, let's be reduce in our use, and we're going to just use the back of this and turn the flashlight on. So our materials obviously is we're going to need a paper, we're going to need a pencil to do something, we're going to need a flashlight, and this is just some things that I'm going to be using to teach. So hold a flashlight about 15 centimeters directly above the paper. The back of this paper will work, and turn the flashlight on. I'm going to turn the paper over here, and I'm going to turn my flashlight on, and I am going to, maybe I'll do it sideways. It might be a little bit easier for you to see. Kind of move my hand. It's out of, and I'm just gonna, I have a ruler here that I'm just gonna do about 15 centimeters here, and I'm just gonna take a look at this and see what I kind of, you can observe. You might be able to use your the lighter from, or the light from your phone, so I can kind of take a look at that, and I see, you know, I see there's a main circle, and I see maybe there's another circle around here, and it's dark in between that. So I'm just making some observations. Observe the light on the paper and trace the shape that the light makes and label this shape A. So usually when we're together in class, we have one person hold it, and then, so let's go back, making sure I'm about 15 centimeters, and I'm going to trace the shape here. It looks like a really nice circle. I am just tracing the inside part where the light is, and then it says to label that A. So I'm going to put a nice big A there. That's A. I know it's hard for you to see this, but let me go back over it. And I'm thinking now that maybe if I were to go back and redo this in the dark, that it would look a little bit better. So let me do that and shut this light off. See if you could see that a little bit better. Get my light in there about 50 centimeters so you can see what I did there. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's go to the next one. I think I know the problem. My camera was tilted here. So I did this one. I observed that, observed the light on the paper and traced the shape. I did that one. And it says to repeat step 1 slowly, tilting the flashlight to the side approximately 45 degrees. So I'm going to tilt and then trace this shape and label it B. Now, for those of us that maybe forgot geometry from 4th grade here, I kind of showed what a 90-degree angle is sort of if you're making an L with your hands. And since 45 is half of 90, you kind of want to close it that much. Now, I am going to use a protractor, and you can see the 90 degrees straight up and down. So that would be something if I was holding the flashlight like this, and this were the paper, straight, I would want to go half of that. So if it was 90 like this, I would want to go half of that across. So let's do that, and let's trace the shape, and let's label this shape B. So here's my A, and it's straight up and down, and now I'm going to go halfway this way, and then shape. Now, once again, I see those two circles, but I am going to try to just kind of lightly. It looks like it became something that we've called elliptical. I also noticed that the paper here is kind of a little bit brighter, and if we can do that like a whole bunch on the table and just kind of, maybe you can see how I can't even see that bright white circle when I tilt it to the side. It kind of gets less bright. So, and I know you can't see my oval, so I'm going to make it really dark and go way around like this. And I am going to label that B. So if I were to grade this, I would be looking, I wanted to see two circles, one labeled A and one labeled B, and B should clearly be stretched out a little bit more in an elliptical shape. So I now did this one. Now it's going to ask us some questions. Contrast usually means tell how the images or whatever are different. How the label looked in step 2, which was A, and how it looked in step 3, B. So I think that in your own words, we could say A was a bright circle, and B was, you could say, dull or less bright, and you could say oval here or elliptical shape, less oval. Now you could stop, read the next question and try it on your own, and then, or at least think about what you think the answer might be for a second. What determines how concentrated or how bright that sunlight is that strikes the earth? Well, it's definitely, we know it's coming from the sun, but what did we change that changed the brightness? When we did this, what do we do that changed the brightness? We changed, what do we call these things? We call them, this is a 90-degree what? Angle. So definitely, I would say, what determines how concentrated? The angle the light strikes the surface. Now that's not a complete sentence, so I'm going to complete my thought and say affects the how bright or the concentration. I'm going to use a big word because I don't have to learn how to, I don't have to know how to spell it because it's sort of right there. Concentration. Okay, so let's take a look at, just looking at the paper, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 points right there. Can you make a connection now? I got to connect this between what I've learned in this activity and the seasonal change in temperatures where you live. And, you know, normally because it's put, and then it says explain, yes, I can. So if you want to write, yes, I can, that's all right, yes. And we might say that in the, let's say something about the seasons. Summer, not the light, let's do the, this is going to smear. Let's call what it is instead of just the light. Let's just say sunlight hits Earth. What do we want to say it at a more direct angle? Okay, so I'm going to say making or creating, and now this is where I'm going to stop, so I'll know whether you did this, and it says seasonal changes in temperatures, so what does it create? So I got you started. You want to finish this sentence for full credit on that. So cohort A, you should come with this completed tomorrow. Cohort B, you should come with this completed on Friday. And then cohort, or the remote cohort, I guess if you want to call them, please take a picture or fill out the form that is connected to this video and send it in by Friday. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful Wednesday.